So if I was you from a recruitment strategy, I'd be like, come work for me because I'm going to teach you how to do this. And I'm in a finishing school. I'm a finishing school, and I'm going to kick you out the freaking door once you've been here for 2 years, just so you know. Zero, nada, everything. So that's the story. So essentially, this event is really about, if you're familiar with Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, he talks about being employed, he talks about being self-employed, and then he talks about being a business owner, and he talks about being an investor, okay? So 80% of the world lives here, okay? 80% of the world lives here, being employed and self-employed, and they control approximately 20% of the world's wealth. Okay, about 20% of the world lives in this half, and they control about 80% of the world's wealth. Okay, who pays more tax, red or blue? Red. Way more. Way more. Way more. This is why when they raise, do you think, like statistically, when they say we're going to tax the rich never pay. When they raise taxes, it's not the rich that pay more taxes. The only people that pay more taxes are who? Working class. Like self-employed, these people don't pay more tax because they have business and their investments, right? So most people I work with, especially in the early days, it's quite different. And our as is it when it comes to scaling in a moment. But when American clients approach me for coaching, all of them want to scale. If you go to America, they're surrounded by scale. McDonald's, Wendy's. It's part of their culture. Scaling is part of their culture, you know. Even if you look at our franchises here, come from mostly America, right? So that's just how they think. It's like scale, multiple. We've got to go more. We've got to go bigger. They've grown up with the McDonald's story. That's just how they talk. But that is essentially trying to go to there. So you've got employed, you've got self-employed, and you've got business owner. So this event, and you being part of this group, is me at least exposing you to the concept or the idea or the possibility of you moving, well, two things. One is, in many of your cases, this needs to go up. This needs to go up. Cash cow. Everyone do this. Everyone do this. And go cha-ching. You need cash. You've got to have cash. Cash is king. You've got to have cash, and then you've got to get rid of it. If you don't get rid of cash, it'll get rid of itself. Okay? Inconvenient truth. Here's an inconvenient truth. You talk about profit. Inconvenient truth. There's never more money. No matter how much you can double business, there won't be any more money. There won't be any more profit. Business is a profit-eating machine. I don't even know where it goes. Like, I even said to my accounts guy, we got, there was that job retention scheme where if you kept someone, you got a payout. So let's say in our bank account at Halsa, let's say it's 200 grand, okay? Whatever it is. Like, I swear to you, it doesn't matter. We just had the most profitable 3 months in the history of Halsa. In the history of Halsa, we paid our chiropractors the lowest we've paid them in the history of Halsa and the highest turnover. Those two things combined at the same time. Johnny, how much money is in the bank account? 200 grand. It's the same fucking amount. No matter how much you do. Why? Because if you leave the cash in there, it'll find a way to be used. It'll find a way to eat away. If you're running a business, you know this. If you're self-employed, it'll grow fast. If you're just you, it'll go faster. So the only way to earn more is just pay yourself more. I promise you. The only way to earn more is pay yourself more. And just decide we're taking more out of the business. Because if you don't do that and whatever's left over, there's never left over. You guys with me? Yes? Trust me, you know? Yeah. You're like, oh no, it's going to build. It never builds. But if you make it a priority, so the concept of profit first, and he was a guest speaker at our mastermind, it's not a new concept. It's a very old concept. The concept is pay yourself first. The only thing he's done differently is not only, most people think pay yourself first is pay yourself a salary, like the salary. But what he's gone is, you pay yourself a salary and we have a profit account. We have a profit account. So I can't say I'm pure with profit first, but the smaller the business, the less it's relevant actually. But the bigger, if you're going to scale and you've got loads of associates and you've got money coming into account, the only way to earn more is actually decide I'm going to take more. It's the only way, I promise. It just finds a way. So, number one, I want to help you with strategies to jump this. You, in my inner circle group, so many of you are getting the strategies, the marketing strategies, the sales strategies, the team strategies. I'm not going to focus all that much on that because I promise you if you're here doing more, working harder is not why you're here. You're not going to take the leap you want by working harder. Is everybody okay with not working harder? Say, hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's not what this is about. If you've come here, like, if you walk out of here and you're going to go, I'm going to work 10 times harder, then I have fucked up, okay? So, because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I promise it's not going to work. If you think you're going to work harder, it's not going to work, okay? So, to go from self-employed to business owner is what Robert Kiyosaki teaches, okay? What he doesn't teach, I think, what they don't do justice to, because it doesn't serve them, be the wizard, don't fall for the wizards. It doesn't serve them to say this, but when you sit at a dinner table, this is exactly what they say. Going from here to here, I think it's a jump that's, you know what happens? We earn such good money as chiropractors, self-employed, that we do develop a little bit of the golden handcuffs. Because to go from there to there is a 6-figure pay cut. Okay, profit margins are 15%, 20%. If you stand-alone practice, maybe 30% if you're cooking. Bracknell alone, by itself, one of our busiest practices, 30% profit margins. Then you add a head office in, you add a financial director in, you add a maintenance person in, you add 15%, 30%, 25%, 20%. We run at 15% profit margins now. If we're lucky. And by the way, when the private equity and Citi sit in front of us, they're like, you guys are amazing. You run at 15% profit margins. Oh my word, it's insane. And we're like, there's not enough money left at the end of the day, you know. But we pay ourselves well. We like my business partner and I, we have great lives and we pay ourselves pretty well from that business. So and there's a certain level of compromise. So going from here to here, don't want to sugarcoat this for anyone in this room. This is hard. But for me, it is really worth it. I love being in that space. So I would much rather earn less being business owner than having the cash cow of adjusting myself because I'm a weirdo. Because I can't I just hate the route. I'm not good with routine. Like if you tell me I have to be anywhere at 8 a.m. to whatever every single Monday, I feel so trapped. I don't mind working my ass off for 2 weeks and being trapped for 2 weeks, but that's just me. Now for some of you, you're more blessed than me in a way that like you've got the cash cow, it's coming, so you've got to make that cash cow work harder for you. So here's the analogy. Can you open that back, that thing there for emphasis? I just need that back window open. So here's what if yourself, just one window, if you just open that, if you can. So how many of you ever seen, like in your house, how many of you have a conservatory or like a glassed window type thing? Great. And then you know what, in summer, what's lying on the floor often? There's lots of like, what happens? Yeah, flies, right? Flies. Now we've also got what's it called? We've got a skylark, right? So there's a fly. And the fly is going head first into the window. And then the fly goes, well, I need to get out of this trap. I'm going to fucking go harder. Harder. And all, like if you look at that scenario there's that far separating the fly at times from death. Literally death. But the fly only knows harder. So I'm going to go harder. Dead. When all the fly had to do was... There is a book on this. There is a book on this. That's it. There's a book on this. And it's literally, I promise, like whenever I think to myself that I have to work harder to do the thing, I'm like, then it's not going to work. Because inherently, I'm pretty shit at a lot of things. I promise you, if it's not getting done in your business, you're in the way. if you're relying on if you are trying to get the thing done, it's you that's holding the business back. So you've got to get it off your plate because it's not going to get done if you're doing it. If you're adjusting full time, you can't take any admin tasks. None, zero, nada, zilch, if you are adjusting full time. If you move to the business owner, then you've got ability. That's your job. You can take admin tasks. The only reason I say don't take admin tasks if you're adjusting full time is that you're not going to do it. And you're being so hard on yourself. You're like, I'm not. You are so efficient. Some of you in this room, I'm like, you can't work any harder. Like, please, I would never be able to pull off your work days. Like, I do very, very little actually in a whole day. Very little, I promise. Okay, so self-employed to business owner, hard. But for me, it was the right thing to do. And here, if you create, what's more sellable? S or B? B is a lot more sellable. B is a lot more sellable. So S, I'm making good cash. Everyone go, cha-ching. Cash. If you're making cash and that's your strategy, you better make hay while the sun shines, as they say, but then you need to be deploying it there. For some people in the room, going to there, it's like a sexy thing. Like, I almost called this mastermind CEO because it was like, how do you remove yourself from your business? But I don't believe in that always. I don't believe that the only path is going there. Because if you look at some of Tony Robbins' stuff, look at the wealthiest people on the planet. They're very, very wealthy, the wealthiest. Everyone likes to tell you they're not self-employed. What's Ronaldo? Like, it's him. He's the business. What's Conor McGregor? It's him. He's the business. What's Tony Robbins? It's him. He's the business. That is where you want to be. But my lesson with that is how I keep them there is because I'm teaching them how to go there.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I do is I turned it on its head. I realized that there was this thing, and it's incongruent for me to try keep them there because I didn't stay there. So what I did was I flipped it on its head. They say whatever you fear, you will eventually become a thing. So if I feared them, if I wanted to keep them there, I was in trouble because it was incongruent, because that's not what I did. So I feel that most of you in the room should play on this way more than I did. So if I was you from a recruitment strategy, I'd be like, come work for me because I'm going to teach you how to do this, and I'm in a finishing school. I'm a finishing school, and I'm going to kick you out the freaking door once you've been here for 2 years, just so you know.
Okay, so give them a 2-year window.
Well, I would like to. I don't actually, because I'm not that involved in the business anymore. But at one point, I used to actually do business evenings, and I loved it. I mean, I'm teaching exactly everything we do, and like I wanted them to be sitting there thinking, like, wow, like why is he like? Does he not know? I can just open up down the road, you know? But like, it's pretty tough. How many of you had some tough times in business before? Yeah. It's hard, right? It's hard to go find a lease. It's hard to go to the reality is everyone's like so hell-bent on making people sign long contracts. I just was faced with this now, and I was like, they're going to be with me for the next 2 years anyway, so I don't need to lock them in for the next 2 years because it takes 2 years to find yourself and get ready and do the thing. And it's interesting, because most people, I had someone say this to me the other day, Ryan, the reason we can't find associates is because you suck up all the associates. And I was like, do you know I haven't hired a British associate in 12 months? I haven't hired a single AECC. I haven't hired a single grad. I've got 30-something chiropractors. For me, it's a chiropractor month, eh? So when you own, so for me, and that's with a retention of 2 to 3 years. If you look at that, I am expecting a resignation a month. For 10 years, I've been able to fill those practices with associates. I needed to think different. And it came from what we're going to do later about thinking different to do it. But it's not the people that have lots of associates that suck up the associate market when there's a limit. Do you know who sucks up the most associates? The people that are appealing to go work for that are shit bosses. Because they go through 3 associates a year. So I personally know one small practice that has been through more associates in 1 year, and I've got 36. I've got 9 practices. So it's not like the better you are as a business owner, the longer you keep them and the longer you do the whole process, so that if we had more of that, it's the people that go to someone and stay like 1 or 2 months. because you lose out of them to hire them, and then they go somewhere else, and then they just churn.